If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place.
Feel the power that comes from focusing on what excites you. Africa Business Radio. Towards a profitable Africa.
You're listening to Africa Business Radio, where you get up-to-date insights on the Africa business landscape. Log on to www.africabusinessradio.com. Your favorite shows are available as podcasts. Download them on our website and mobile app. Africa Business Radio, towards a profitable Africa.
They are 1.8 billion globally. They will make 75% of workforce by 2025. They will outspace earnings of baby boomers in less than 10 years. Smartphones and tablets are the argument settlers and fact checkers for every conversation. Get more insights on African Millennials on Africa Business Radio, towards a profitable Africa.
That's cool on the beat.
Wow. Okay. Today's Wednesday. It's been a stressful week so far, man. But a blessed one still. You know, you have those things that come, those blessings that come in interesting disguises and things like that. Had a long weekend. Monday started, Tuesday. But it's Wednesday. I'm grateful. Can't complain. And I have a very, very interesting person. Again, I always bring interesting people to the show. You can always count on that. It's Tomi Wale. You know how I go about these things. All right, how we doing though? How are my people everywhere, my listeners? Thank you so much for the interesting feedback so far. The African Millennial Radio Show has been gaining interesting reception and listenership from over 32 countries now. Yeah, so if you're listening from a country, you're part of the over 32 countries where it's coming from, and from over 1 million listeners. I mean, that's very, very interesting. Let's grow this. Let's tell a lot more people about the African Millennial Radio Show and, you know, educate Africa and the world more about who we are. All right. Drum roll. I have this interesting person with me today. You know, I've known him for, I think, about maybe 20 years now, or close to 20 years now. All right. So you talk about childhood friends and hood friends and things like that. And yeah, everybody's no more the childhood friend or the hood friend. Everybody's now doing interesting things. I mean, let me run down his profile to you just a bit, so you have an idea of what to expect on this episode. So I have a creative director and tech savvy product development and marketing professional who has progressive experience across a broad range of marketing and product development functions in varied industry segments. I mean, JD Cassidy is with me today. I'm not done, that's just his name, but then let me keep reading. He currently functions as a marketing manager at Sub-Saharan Africa with Mall for Africa Limited. He has worked with over 200 brands in 8 countries. Bro, how you doing?
I'm very well.
I mean, sorry, I didn't hear that.
I'm very
No,
well.
we didn't hear. We need to know. This is an interesting profile, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's very, very impressive. I mean, we've been having this talk on, you know, the millennials trying to get things done for themselves, millennials and education, millennials and the media, and things like that. And I know, what did you study in uni? Sorry,
Studied physics.
Studied physics, and you're doing all of these 8 brands in the countries. I mean, bro, can you please show us the way? How did you go about this? What was the crossover like, though?
Well, interestingly, this all started in uni. And you know, when you were in uni, I mean, I never really liked school like that.
Okay.
You know, never really liked school like that. But physics was quite interesting for me. Interestingly, the reason why I started studying physics was very funny because I did my A levels.
Okay.
And of course, we had this combination to mathematics, physics, and chemistry. And I had the lowest score in physics. So I said, you know what? Let me go and study physics.
Okay.
If I can succeed, if I can do well at physics, then I will have worked at my weakest.
So wait, people usually go with their best foot
Exactly.
forward. This guy,
Even the admin from that was University of Ibadan said, you had an A in chemistry. You should study something chemical engineering or something like that. I said no. If I work on my where I'm weak at, then if I can succeed, if I don't have a carryover, if I don't get thrown out of uni, then I would have succeeded.
Wow.
Pretty much.
Wow.
So that was just me just playing around. And interestingly, when I started studying physics, I found so many things. I was like, this course is like everything. You can apply it anywhere. That's why you see people like Elon Musk to Jeff. Like, there are a lot of people who have a background in physics and they're doing incredible things. Not necessarily something related to physics itself, but physics is science. It's the bedrock of science, from Thomas Edison to Albert Einstein. It's physics. So there's a physics of how you think. There's a physics of how you move. There's a physics of everything. So that's the reason why I was so lucky to have studied physics, and it impacted what I was going to be doing later on.
Wow. So well, I understand what you're saying though. I remember at some point when I used to work in media then in school, and then we needed to use a projector and a screen. Now there was no space to put the projector machine itself in front of the crowd. So now I studied political science. And I said, okay, put the projector behind the cloth and then invert the sides so that when you're looking at it from the front, and it was like, are you a tech student? I said, no, just invert it, right? So I could see that was physics anyway. That wasn't chemistry or anything. So I get that. And also, even when it comes to creating visuals and things like that, I can understand that. Wow, that's very interesting. So you were thinking of that, and then the creative side started. Yeah,
interestingly, at the time, I was around a lot of people who were like designing. Uni then, you just doing flyers and things like that. And photo manipulation, and I was just curious, like, I wish I could do this thing.
Like I could make myself a twin on a
exactly.
picture.
It was just really, I was really curious. I wanted to, be able to do it. And of course, I tried to ask people and say, hey, guy, would you teach me? Nobody has time. Once you're a designer, you never have time. In uni, there's always something to do. So nobody had time. And I remember I spoke with this guy, Toby, One Media.
Okay.
I spoke to another guy, Dilo, and he told me that when I was in your stage, I told Toby to teach me. He told me to go and bring 50k. 50k at that time was a lot of money.
It was, of course,
a lot of money. And he was like, "See, let me tell you, anyway, he bounced me pretty much like, I can't, I didn't have money to learn, so I had to go and learn myself." And that's the really interesting part, because I was just on YouTube trying to figure it out, and it was frustrating. Frustrating. You know how that you learn something, you watch something, you think you know it, by the time you start applying it, you're looking for that thing, that tool that does something, and you're like, where is that thing? I learned it. And in fact, if you do it one time, doesn't mean you remember the second time. So I was like, in fact, the whole interface was like confusing. I was like, what is this? And do you know, I would cry sometimes. I was an adult, like I was in uni, I was an adult, but sometimes I'm like, this is so frustrating. I'm trying to achieve this thing. It's in my mind, but I cannot execute it. And it was so frustrating.
Wow. Yeah. But then that was, but you never gave up anyways. You didn't close the laptop and then just say, I'm not touching this thing again.
Never gave up.
I was going to get this thing done. Yeah. I was having so I was on Twitter recently, and then, when someone retweets something you do and things like that. And I just found this lady. She's a UX, UI designer, and I decided to check. Her name is Amaka. And I checked her website. Okay. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we decided to meet up sometime this week, and bro, you should see her website. And she's not 21. She's young. And so I was asking her that, how did you learn this and everything? She said she actually went on YouTube and learned it herself. So I'm looking at that trend happen. I met another lady also this week, and then she was she told me to check out her business plan. I saw this interesting sandals that she makes, and she makes it herself. Right? She's 19 or 20. Do you get what I'm saying? So I'm like, there's really something happening which I like. Right? I don't know if it's the system that it's failing, or maybe there's just a wind of innovation happening, or just do it yourself happening, and things like that, where you don't have anybody to teach you, but then you just go and teach yourself and you get it done yourself. I can see that happening amongst African millennials, and it's a very interesting thing. Now, can you go deep? Because I've heard you say that you learned it yourself and everything, but I need stories. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I need stories. Can you share a couple of stories, hard times, how you were able to cross one part and move into?
Yeah, I think firstly, I would say that one thing I've learned is that, see, the way Nigeria is actually an opportunity. The way our system is actually an opportunity.
Because
Africa generally. Because strength is built in resistance.
Right.
And sometimes it's in adversity that you actually get to bring out something really, crazy and amazing. Right. Because at the time, I mean, how did I even, the first time I actually did a design, I remember my brother actually was the first guy that actually taught me design in a way, because he was doing like PowerPoint presentations and all that, and he would go for these TEDx shows, and he would just have these animations, and and I was like, oh, this is really cool.
Right.
And in one night he taught me, and I was like, I just kept doing it. I just kept. And interestingly, one particular day his laptop was, his laptops that once you're charging it, it's before it gets past 10%, it takes like 4 hours.
Yeah.
And once there's no power, if it goes beyond 10%, it takes 4 hours to get it back to them. So he told me, he said, if they take light, just make sure that it doesn't go below, once it's like 12%, just hibernate or shut down.
Right.
But that particular day, I was just engrossed in the thing. I was like, this thing is really cool. I was trying to work it out. 12%, I was like, man, this is just a minute more. The next time I checked, the battery was like 6%, something like that. I was like, oh my God, I am dead. So I closed the laptop, I ran away. I just didn't want to be around, So Ilya came and was like, man, never ever in your life touch my laptop again. Do you know what I did? I was actually mad. I was like, what does this guy even mean? So what I did was, I went with PowerPoint. The next time he wasn't around, I went with PowerPoint. I did a little design. The design was help JD get a new laptop. Right. I put a picture of some guy begging, like, help me, put a couple things together. I just put everything together, sent it to my friends and people that I thought had money, and just hoping for the best. Interestingly, feedback I got was, this is so funny. Wow, look at this guy. He actually looks like you. And people were just saying different things. People started sending me money.
Wow.
I got enough money to buy a laptop.
Wow.
And a phone.
Wow.
And a year after,
could use as hotspots.
Exactly. And a year after, I was still getting money. So people were sharing it as like a meme. Like, they were just like, look at this funny thing. Right. And someone just see and just send me 2K, 3K.
Wow.
So I was already good. I was getting random.
Well, then you were still getting
I was still getting random cash like that.
And then did your brother not ask for your laptop now?
In fact, so many times he asked me to help me do this or help me do that, Okay. And can you borrow me your laptop and things like that.
That was the moment.
And I was like, anyway, you taught me, Sha, so I won't take it on you. So it was interesting because now it was me combining business acumen on how to actually raise funds with a skill. Right. And see, I would say this, it was hard. I was in uni, and because I didn't like school and I picked a course that I was really terrible at.
No, you picked it yourself. You said you wanted to test the weakness,
I picked it.
Enjoy it.
So it was hard to make it. So I was battling with trying to do well in school, and for design I had to invest a lot of time in it because I was learning on my own. So it meant a lot of sleepless nights. So my friends were all let's go watch Man U versus Chelsea. I couldn't move in packs because when you move in packs you talk too long. You guys are just walking around the school. I was always isolated. In the morning when I wake up 5 a.m. I first design for like 3 hours before I go for lectures. When I get back from lectures I design. Sometimes in the night I go to the library where people are reading for exams.
You design.
I design. In fact, when I'm reading for school, I'm in the library. I went to maybe it's like 2 a.m. and I start getting sleepy. I don't take chewing gum or anything like that. I open my laptop, start designing. That's how I keep myself awake. So the drive was everything.
Wow.
It was like my cocaine. It was like my drug. Like I literally was living on it, you know.
Wow. That's very interesting. I remember, so for me though, it was, because I have a background in design.
Yeah.
For me though, it was, I didn't even have a laptop most of the time. So I had this flash drive that had a tape around it. Right. And all I did was I had the software installation file on it, and I had my files on it. I made sure it was about 16 gig or something. So all I just needed to do was just to get a laptop somewhere, install it, use it for 2 hours and return it and things like that until I was able to get mine. So, you know, I could see this drive. I mean, from what you said, there was this you had to create something because your brother gave you adversity by saying, "Don't touch my laptop again." I mean, that's really cool. You know what? Let's have a short break now, and then we'll be back.
There are 1.8 billion globally. That will make 75% workforce by 2025. That will outpace earnings of baby boomers in less than 10 years. Smartphones and tablets are the argument settlers and fact checkers of every conversation. Get more insights on Africa Millennials on Africa Business Radio. Towards a profitable Africa.
That's cool on the beat.
You know, I'm thinking of something, right? So you could have all this skill and things like that. And okay, so first of all, you had the talent. Then you now made it a skill. Now, in now making money from it, right? And I'm sure you've had experiences of people telling you to do something for exposure.
Most definitely. They still do that. Yeah.
Let's talk about exposure a bit. Let's talk about it. A photographer told me recently, he said, "Don't worry, if I need exposure, I'll increase my ISO."
Oh yeah.
And so the ISO is something on the camera where you used to increase the lighting coming in and things like that. Yeah. So this photographer goes like, if I need exposure for my business, I'll increase that part of my camera.
That's so
you don't need
right?
to do. So tell me, what was it like though, trying to now get into the market space proper?
Well, honestly, I would say that initially you have to pay your dues.
Right.
You definitely have to do things for free at some point.
Okay.
To get experience.
Okay.
Right. I remember when I was in uni, I was traveling to my second year. I was traveling to Lagos like every other weekend. We would go pitch to Nigerian breweries. We pitch to big companies. We just found this guy found us, right? And this guy was these people that are hustlers, yeah.
Right.
So he saw like, these guys, you can design this, you can make videos, animations. Do something. Let's go pitch to these guys. So, of course, he was making the money, but we were excited that we're, on that trail. We'll go and meet like them. Brand managers. Yeah. They'll chill. We'll eat chicken, and they were just like cool. To have that access. What he was doing to us was he was expanding our minds.
Right.
I wouldn't have thought in my wildest imagination that I would be talking to the CEO of a company when I'm in uni. Do you understand? Even to talk to my lecturer, I'm a little like, scared and stuff like that. I'm talking to outside who are doing things, what stuff you're watching on TV,
right.
So having that experience helped our minds, right? And soon enough, when I now started, I need to start making money, I could talk. I could say, I've been there, done that. Like, no, I've spoken to this person. I know this person. Oh, I've done this, I've done that. And when they start seeing the brands you work with, then you have confidence. You have something to sell. So if you come to someone and say, "Oh, I can do this," you're like, "Who have you done it for?" And you're like, "I just know I can do it." You might be the greatest designer ever. Nobody's going to believe you.
Yeah, exactly. It's not seeing the results.
You've not seen the results. And in fact, based on what you've done, you can actually speak from a place of knowledge, like deep knowledge. Yeah. So there are also people that want to just use you. They want to just, will give you exposure. So, but when you've already paid your dues, you can tell them what exposure exactly. I've told people. I mean, there's a time I was getting a lot of gigs from, like the film, like this entertainment industry, and it's quite funny around that in that industry. I had to tell all of you, many of you have come. I'm not really interested in this.
I'm not moved.
Exactly. I'm not really interested.
Okay. I'll take a selfie with you next.
Right. So exactly. I mean, so it's like you have 2 million followers. I'll post your work. I don't need 2 million followers.
I need 2 million naira.
Exactly.
$2 million or something.
So So at the end of the day, but I feel like comes from having paid your dues and you know how it really works.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So there's something about the business side of this now, right?
Yeah.
Where you have all of this, you've paid your dues. Now having next. So someone asked me this question, I think about 6 years ago, and the person said, with what you have right now, if you sit in front of maybe Dangote or Mike Adenuga or Jack Ma or anybody, what would you tell them that will convince them to pay you an X amount of millions? So, so at that point, I was like, okay, what would I say? You get that kind of that sort of a thing, right? So, there's something about having mentors, right? No matter what, so, because they've gone ahead of you. Mentors that trust you. I saw something. Mentors that you trust mentors that trust you. There's this thing about being over mentored and being under financed. I'm sure that's going to be a conversation for another day.
Yeah.
What was it like for you having mentors? What were the lessons? What are the benefits? What are the things to avoid? How do you balance that relationship?
See, honestly, I remember when I'd done design my own, trying to learn and everything. The first time I met another designer who was experienced, my life changed.
Okay.
Because I was like, whoa, I've been doing this thing for 3 hours and these guys able to do it in 3 minutes. So this is how to properly do it. I'll go in the long term because I self-learned. So I was doing it my own way, but there was a better way.
Yeah.
So that was a good one.
Yeah.
But then you see, I've met other mentors who were not necessarily like lead designers or professional designers, who were like businessmen.
Yeah.
And they were just there to exploit you pretty much.
Okay.
Right. But see, I think two things are very important in getting, because you need mentors. Mentors help you to, increase your speed. They help you to grow. Like you can do something for 10 years and with a mentor you do it in 2 years. Right. I am mentored late last year. This guy, literally, I was doing design, I was doing all of those things. But this guy made me start to do videos. And I was able to start doing videos for brands as big as DHL within a year.
Oh.
Because of what this guy was investing to me.
Right.
So this kind of people, you know that these guys are not there to... They just want... They've learned so much. They have so much. They just want to give.
Right.
Those are the kind of people that you need as a mentor, not the ones that are looking to make it.
So you need the ones who are willing to give, actually, because they have a lot going on. Then there's something about you having a load in your head, and you just need to shed it off to some.
Exactly.
So you can open up for more. So you need people, right?
Exactly.
I just learned that from you.
Because if you are good at something, you've done it for so long, you've had so much success. There's always something in your heart that wants to I want to give back. I want to tell someone these secrets. But again, the reason why he chose me was because two things. I was passionate about him and what he was doing at the time. Yeah. So you're looking at who do I want to give you? Okay, I need someone who is most driven. Yeah. And who is also passionate about me. Because again, there's also a little selfishness in it, because I'm not going to give someone who's going to just turn his back on me. Like, I want someone who can be there, sort of. Yeah. So I'm passionate about what he's doing. It's like, I want to turn around this company. I want to do this. And I just need someone who has this skill. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So in both ways it works. So you must be getting something, and you must be giving something. So it's a give and take thing. Scratch my back and I'll scratch yours kind of thing.
Right. I mean that's I mean, you've from the beginning of what you said, what I could see in you is you have a thing about spinning weaknesses and making it touch points for strength. So it was from you taking physics, it was from you having an interest and then talking to your brother to teach you. It was from you doing the interesting meme that got you your first laptop. It was you now having mentors, and then I'm sure your fingers have been beaten many times by the people who have exploited you, and then you now identify the kind of people who should be. Now I want to ask a question though. Yeah. Right. I'm sure we have interest. By the way, sorry, what's your Instagram handle?
Instagram handle is JD Cassidy.
How do you spell that?
JAYDEE.
All right.
CASSIDY.
Okay, so that's at JD Cassidy.
Yes.
JAY, because I'm sure you have a couple of people who want to follow you. Are you on Twitter?
I'm on Twitter. Same.
Right, because I'm sure a couple of questions will come and things like that, maybe patronages, whatever. I don't know.
Great.
Right. Just bait.
Yeah.
Right. So that's good. Now, there are so many people, and like the ladies I talked about right now, and I'm sure there are so many guys out there who are trying to do something. A friend of mine was asking me a question. He's a doctor in University of Sussex. I've mentioned him about twice on the show. He said that that wasn't what he said. He said, are Nigerian millennials or African millennials going into entrepreneurship because they want to be entrepreneurs or because they want to survive? Whatever the answer is. What I can see is a lot of people are actually trying to get something done and put a name to something, right? They don't just want to leave and they just let it go, but at least I did this, I did that, I contributed to this, which is very, very interesting. From everything you've learned, right?
Yeah.
Can you just go all out, full blitz on telling these people what they should be thinking of now? Looking at the next 10 years, what are the things that would be happening? How can they key themselves into it also, right? Because we can talk about the present for so long now, but then we are the ones creating the future. Yeah. Right? We have these people who have these energies. You have come through an interesting period of time where you have to learn things on your own and then grow to you working with brands from 8 countries.
Yeah.
Right. What would you tell these guys about what the future really is and how they can stay true to what they're doing so they can build interesting economies with it?
Yeah. So I think it's easy to get locked down behind your computer and think that if I just keep doing this, someday I'm just going to be great. I think that's one of the things I had to tell myself, that if you do not intentionally make progress, intentionally know what you want, you would just be stuck. You would do well in that corner. So, I mean, you have to start thinking 6 years from now, what will I be doing? See, you're designing now, but 10 years from now, AI will take over what you're doing. I mean, and so you have to be careful. You have to, improve yourself. Because now, because someone who is designing just flyers and all that, 20 years ago, my dad used to have this guy who used to design flyers and all that for him. He was using CorelDRAW at the time, and then you needed to know Photoshop to be able to be relevant today, to be able to do like GIFs and do like short animations and stuff like that. That CorelDRAW wouldn't have offered you. Now those guys are pretty much not useful these days, you know. So at the end of the day, you'd see that it's very important to improve yourself and not just get caught up in one corner, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay, that's really good, JD. I mean, I really, really appreciate your time in the studio. JD has taught us so many things about how to spin. I mean, that thing is a huge lesson this afternoon. I think now I talked about having an interesting week. I'm just going to spin whatever mood I've had all week, you know, to take my Thursday and Friday going. So I'm going to spin. I'm going to take the physics.
Yeah, that's
right.
It. That's it.
All right, thank you so much. So guys, we're going to be out right now and be back again on Friday. Don't forget to go on getupinc.com to take the African Millennial Report survey. Don't forget to share this podcast with a friend. It's on africabusinessradio.com, right? And then, of course, follow Get Up Inc. on social media. I'm Tomi Wale. I'm Tomi Wale on Instagram and Twitter. Also, you can just search the African Millennial on Twitter or Instagram and you find me there. All right, guys, have a very, very wonderful afternoon and then make sure the remaining part of the week counts. Bye for now.
There are 1.8 billion globally. That will make 75% workforce by 2025. That will outspace earnings of baby boomers in less than 10 years. Smartphones and tablets are the argument settlers and fact checkers of every conversation. Get more insights on African Millennials on Africa Business Radio. Towards a profitable Africa.
You're listening to Africa Business Radio, where you get up-to-date insights on the Africa business landscape. Log on to www.africabusinessradio.com. Your favorite shows are available as podcasts. Download them on our website and mobile app. Africa Business Radio, towards a profitable Africa.